This is CS Enterprises. Well, no news is hang on. Scottish independence. We don't want to give you that. We really want to give you this instead.
It's Breaking the News with Susan Calman.
Breaking the News, the show that breaks the week's news and asks four opinionated panellists to put it back together. Margaret Thatcher was reportedly forced to pay the Ayatollah Khomeini £2 million to rebuild the Iranian embassy. The renovations were featured in an episode of Homes Under the Hammers. A new alarm clock gives people an electric shock if they don't wake up. It's not supposed to, but it's part of the new Samsung Note range. A school in Worcester is charging parents £1 to see their kids in this year's nativity play. Parents have responded by saying they're prepared to pay £10 if they don't have to go. Joining me are, on my left, impressionist and comedian Rory Bremner, and he's joined by comedian, writer and science communicator Elaine Malcolmson. And on my right, Daily Record columnist Claire Johnston, and with her, it's rising star of the comedy circuit, Stuart Mitchell! Our teams have to guess the two major stories of the week that have been mashed together into one single news report. Rory and Elaine, can you tell me the two stories mixed together here?
The First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, is in Dublin in a bid to strengthen Donald Trump in the wake of the Brexit vote.
Now, in a message on Twitter, he says he'll be leaving his business to focus on running
Scotland and Ireland for generations to come.
Terrifying thought. Rory, what's the first story you can pick out of that?
So Nicola Sturgeon, she was going to go to America. She had a word with John Swinney, and they said, the Scottish administration, you can only afford to fly as far as Dublin. and even that is by using all of Judy Murray's air miles.
You're right. It's the news that First Minister Nicola Sturgeon had a two-day visit to Ireland this week, examining possible options for maintaining Scotland's links to the European single market.
Yeah, essentially, yeah, she went on a mini-break. She went on a mini-break. It was more of a working holiday, though. She went to Ireland to find somebody to marry Scotland so it could still have its EU passport.
We need to make friends and influence people, don't we, in terms of there's no two better countries, Scotland and Ireland. I mean, just look at us, poor diets, excessive drinking. We've got the best sectarian violence in the world.
I think we should swap. I think maybe that would be the idea, that we actually swap Scotland and Northern Ireland. So, you know, Northern Ireland, they stay in the United Kingdom and they can get a share of the Barnett formula. And we could be part of a prosperous EU country, and we get Rory McIlroy and 2 tickets to Strictly.
Claire, what do you think about the charm offensive that Nicola Sturgeon went on in Ireland?
I think she picked a bit of an easy gig, if I'm honest. You know, I think she was preaching to the converted. I think if you go over to Ireland and you're there to talk about ways to upset England, I don't think the Irish are the toughest crowd.
Brexit's pretty complicated, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I've just about got my head around it. So what we had was an M&S dine-in for 2. Right.
Hold on, I'm going to write this down and send it to Nicola. Hold on, right?
We had a main, a side, dessert, and free wine, £10, good deal. Right? In June, some people decided they didn't want that deal anymore because it was always paella and tiramisu. Why are there no Cornish pasties? Why can't we have fish and chips all the time? But the problem is, this is going to go on, Susan. Problem is, Theresa May really likes the dine-in, but she has to do what everybody else says.
Yeah.
So now she's trying to cling on to the dessert. She's like, I really like this dessert. Europe's like, You can't just have dessert. That's not how it works. It's a main, a side, dessert, and free wine. So then yesterday, Boris Johnson secretly announced that he really likes garlic mushrooms. So he wants to keep the side. But that's not the deal. So today, David Davis has said, maybe you can keep the dessert, but it's still going to cost you £10 and there'll be no free wine. So meanwhile, anyone with any sense has gone to Iceland.
That is indeed Nicola Sturgeon and the continuing Brexit shenanigans. Elaine, what's the second story?
I think it's about some fella called Donald Trump. And he's gone a bit loose and free on Twitter.
I think for the sake of world peace, he probably should stop tweeting. I think that would be helpful. I think none of us know where you stand with Donald Trump. We don't know. We're going to have to see how it goes, because he makes a decision and then he suddenly reverses that decision. So how can you know? But he's now threatening to end the normalising of relations with Cuba that happened under Obama. But I'm thinking, who does he have normal relations with? What would that look like?
This is the only person I know who actually got into politics to spend more time with his family.
I think possibly the problem is that he's gone straight in at Twitter level, whereas the rest of us, we went up, then we went from your Bebo to a MySpace, up through Facebook. So he should maybe go back and try something, you know, more on his level, like Speak and Spell.
Yes, it's the news that President-elect Donald Trump has posted a series of strange tweets attacking the media this week. Now, I follow Donald Trump. It's the most remarkable thing I've ever seen. Do you think that maybe Donald Trump should, now he's President-elect, which is still a horrific thing to say, lay off Twitter a little bit?
He should lay off something. Whatever is fueling that. But I mean, that's just an abbreviation of his normal stuff. The stuff he normally comes out. For Iran, for example, he said,
when they circle our beautiful destroyers with their little boats and they make gestures at our people that they shouldn't be allowed to make, they'll be shot out of the water.
It's all, I mean, he comes out with ridiculous stuff. He was asked about sexually transmitted diseases. He says,
I've been so lucky in terms of that whole world.
This is what you get. I mean, I think the longer he spends on Twitter, the less harm he can do elsewhere. Yeah. To be honest, he's very, very welcome to Twitter, although he's the kind of guy that thinks if you've got 140-odd characters, that for him is a cabinet.
I think Nicola Sturgeon should be a bit brasher like that. I do if someone complains to her on Twitter about ScotRail cancelling trains, she's just like, aye, buy a motor, you dafty. Even though he's won the election, he's kicking off because 3 million illegal immigrants voted in the American election, but they voted for him because they're all bricklayers.
Claire and Stuart, 2 stories and just 1 clip for you. What do you make of this?
Earlier today, UKIP announced its
life expectancy. This is now 77.1 years for
Paul Nuttall
and 81.1 years for
Nigel Farage.
And there were considerable differences between
the SNP and
different bits of Scotland.
Well, the first story is Paul Nuttall has been elected as the UKIP leader. Seemingly, I knew he was going to win because he took Ohio.
This is the story that Paul Nuttall, who sounds suspiciously like a member of Sylvanian families, has been elected leader of the UK Independence Party, replacing Nigel Farage and making him the 42nd leader since the summer. I mean, it's thrilling. Were you enthralled by the UKIP leadership campaign?
I think what really impressed me actually was the reaction of the runner-up. Suzanne Evans, because she was beaten by some margin. He won that vote with 62%. She got 19%. But she should get an award for turning public humiliation into a positive, because she said that she was actually glad he won with such a massive mandate, because now he's well placed to lead the party. So it's kind of like somebody saying, you know, well, I actually really wanted him to win, so now I'm a winner too. Yeah. We don't believe you.
He's a former history lecturer, specialising in the Edwardian era. He even looks like a King Edward.
Yes, he used to be a history lecturer, but gave up his career when he realised history was just brimming with foreigners. Do you think he's going to do anything? Do you think he's going to help anybody?
Not for Scotland.
No.
He really doesn't like us. He, I think, described us as pretty much a bunch of scroungers. He wants to cut our budget. He thinks we get too much. And he wants to boot our MPs out of Westminster. But, you know, apart from that, he thinks...
Apart from that, he's a great supporter.
Yeah.
Great supporter. Finally, what do you think, Rory, then, about UKIP? I mean, it seems to me that after Brexit, they're slightly irrelevant. Do you think they're going to keep going?
Well, you kind of think that was the thing, that was the point, you know, the UK Independence Party. And if technically we are independent, then it does look like a party with a great future behind it.
Paul Nuttall is UKIP's new leader, is right. A point to you, Claire and Stuart. But what was the other story we were after?
Well, I think this is the disappointing news that we're still dying younger than people elsewhere in the UK, basically. So new statistics say that for a boy born in Scotland now, they'll live to 77, and a girl would live till 81. But it's kind of confusing because another survey published recently as well suggested that we have the highest quality of life of anywhere in the UK. So we're having a darn good party somewhere along the way.
So we have a good life, just a shorter life.
That's looking like it, yeah.
Stuart, what do you think about this one? It's mixed messages, isn't it? It's mixed messages.
There's so many differences. For instance, males in East and Bartonshire can expect to die at 80, whereas in Glasgow City, you can expect to die at any time. But it's a strange one, because, I mean, I don't mind sharing. My gran is 93, and in 2 years' time, she will be older than my mum and dad were combined. Oof. Which is incredible, isn't it? And she puts that down to sheer determination to keep her house.
I think Scots maybe die young because they get tired of people telling them about their short life expectancy. Yeah. The quality of life thing's interesting, though, because the problem is they keep putting up the pension age, so people are now having to work longer than their life expectancy. And I think that's maybe why some companies have such bad customer service.
Men live longest in Cyprus, okay, and women live longer in Spain. But is that the same couple? So if a man lives in Cyprus and his wife lives in Spain, is that the recipe for a long and happy life?
The end of that round. Well, the teams are all square. This round is all about the people in the news. I'll offer you some clues and you can tell me who it is. Claire and Stuart, you get first go this time. Who are we talking about and why are they in the news? Here's the first clue. It's a tweet that was sent about this person this week.
Saw her trending, panicked and checked it out, only to find that it was worse than what I'd originally thought.
The Queen.
Right, sounds like it could be the Queen. Let's hear from the person themselves.
I think maybe it's that kind of primeval thing where you're trying to think, can I get to that tree before the tiger gets me? Will I be able to get up high enough?
I think this must be Kate Bush.
Kate Bush is the correct answer, yes. And why are they in the news this week?
She described Theresa May, surprisingly, to many of her fans who are quite upset about it, but she revealed that she likes Theresa May.
She said Theresa May was wonderful and said that having a female Prime Minister is the best thing that's happened to the UK for a long time.
I think Andy Murray winning Wimbledon is a bit up there.
Having a few days of summer in May was quite nice as well, but... For clarity, she hasn't said that she's a Conservative. She says that she admires Theresa May. Does this affect how you feel about Kate Bush?
I suppose she could be a Tory, because, I mean, she was big in the 80s and she's not done anything for 30 years.
Do musicians' opinions count at all in terms of their political beliefs?
No, not really. I mean, where are we going with this? Like, you know, you hear that Katie Melua is a huge Phil Hammond fan or something. I'm actually a big Phil Hammond fan, by the way.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm going to go and see his Autumn Statement tour. He's going to be playing some stadiums. He's going to be knocking out all the great hits. You know, If You Leave Me Now, it'll cost you 59 billion. He's got great support from the Brexiteers, which is a kind of UKIP tribute act. And Tim Farron's in the acoustic tent next door. It's very exciting. No, I don't necessarily think so. I think their opinions about as worth or unworth what anybody else's is, really.
If you look at what happened in America recently as well, so you had all these massive music stars, you had John Bon Jovi and Katy Perry and Beyonce and Jay-Z, and they were all lining up to get behind Hillary Clinton, and look what good it did her. So I don't think that musicians' views count, really.
Any politicians you could picture as pop stars?
I think Nicola Sturgeon should go on X Factor. Have Louis going,
Nicola, I think you've got a great voice. I absolutely... You remind me of a little Susie Quattro.
You could have the Scottish Labour Party doing a tribute of The Who.
2 points, Claire and Stuart. That was the ethereal Kate Bush. Now, Rory and Elaine, it's your turn. Who's this person and why are they in the news? Here's a tweet sent about them.
You're like that uncool uncle at the 16th birthday party, smoking and talking about all the fights you've won.
Who's that?
Is it Cheryl Fernandez Rossini?
Here's the person themselves.
Well, I've always been ready to apologise for mistakes that I've made. Not necessarily immediately, but certainly after a period of reflection.
Whose dulcet tones?
Oh, it's Michael Gove, who, have to say, always sounds like a wasp in a jam jar.
Well, Michael Gove this week bemoaned the football manager culture of British politics.
Oh, that, yeah.
Yes, and he said that critics were too quick to call for the head of a politician who just makes a simple mistake. Do you think we've got a football manager culture, Elaine?
No, I wish there was. Remember that time Alex Ferguson kicked a boot at David Beckham's head? I'd like to see Theresa May kick one of her kitten heels at Boris Johnson's head.
What do you think, Claire, about... is it a football manager culture?
No, I think if politicians aren't up to it, then they usually go pretty quick.
But it seems to me that Jeremy Corbyn proves that you can't just vote people out.
He is the one exception.
Jeremy Corbyn is the exception to the rule in that a lot of people wanted rid of Jeremy Corbyn, and I mean he is exceptional. He's clean. You know those Garfields in the car. Jeremy Corbyn is stuck to the window and is not going anywhere.
I was in a shop the other day, a hardware shop, and you know that stuff that's really strong glue, and they call it sticks like shh, you know. And the guy says, "I think you'll find it's called Corbynite now." I'd be all for a football management culture in politics, because then it'd be great, because then we could have a foreign manager. Angela Merkel, you know, we could get her on a transfer. Barack Obama, he's out of contract.
Yeah.
You know, we could get Barack Obama on a contract from January.
Yeah.
Aye, but it's always pending a visa, so they're screwed.
Yeah.
I actually met Michael Gove probably a year and a half ago, and someone had stole his iPad for his speech. But the funniest thing was it was at a reducing reoffending conference.
Michael Gove's the right answer. 2 points go to Rory and Elaine. You're tuned to Breaking the News on BBC Radio Scotland with me, Susan Calman. So much of our news is about public reaction and opinion, so we've gone out and found some people to comment on the news. This week we spoke to professional climbers, Derry and Hal. I'll play their reactions. Rory and Elaine, what are Derry and Hal talking about here?
Kind of does take over your house quite a lot for a while.
It's very like pushy in your face.
I definitely can understand why people get so excited.
Maybe get like very Scroogey about it. It's maybe a bit far.
Keep it small.
So what's the story?
Some people are angry because Joan Collins put her Christmas tree up in November, but she's 83. She probably just misjudged how long it would take to put it up. I mean, she probably put it up because it was a dry day.
It's exactly right. Dame Joan Collins, 83, posted a picture of a Christmas tree festooned with baubles on Sunday and posed the question, our Christmas tree, have I peaked too soon? The answer is Dame Joan Collins, never Dame Joan Collins. She will never peak too soon. Is November too early, Rory?
Well, it kind of depends on whether you want a hard Christmas or a soft Christmas. Because, you know, in our house, Christmas doesn't start until you've triggered Article 50. Which essentially is either when the Advent calendar start or John Lewis does the advert. Although I've got to say, though, I thought they were kind of early because on November the 9th I saw that the old man, about 70 years old, surrounded by his family, some of them in tears, making his victory speech as President of the United States. And the choir was singing, "You can't always get what you want." And I thought, my God, John Lewis have done a good ad this year. But
Stuart, when is too soon?
Oh, I just get stressed out. My wife wants a real tree this year, and I said, what for? And she says, no, Scotch pine. And... and it's got to be fair trade. And it's got to be gluten-free. Right? So she wants a real tree with red baubles, and I gave up, and I've just bought a tomato plant.
I mean, I think you only feel the pressure if you allow yourself to feel the pressure. My family, every year, same thing. Prawn cocktail to start, turkey and all the trimmings, raspberry pavlova. That's it. It has never changed in 40 years. It will never change in 40 years. That's the way it happens. We watch Doctor Who. My dad talks over it and says, who's that? I say, Doctor Who. I say, I tell you that every year. And he goes, oh, it's a different Doctor Who from the last one. Yes, it is. He regenerates, Dad. You said this last time. And I explained the plot of Doctor Who to him and who the Daleks are. And then he goes away and I've missed the whole thing. And then we have an argument, as my brother and I have an argument, and then we all leave angry at each other. That's the perfect family Christmas. Stuart, what story are our climbers on about here?
I sounded like a dying cat, unfortunately.
I'm not a huge fan of the sound.
If you are engaging your brain in a lot of different ways, your ability to think outside the box is going to be better if you're doing something like that.
But I think it's definitely something that everyone should try out at least once.
This is the recent research suggesting that if children learn a musical instrument, that it actually boosts their brain power. And it's all very complicated, but the connectivity in their brains. Mm-hmm. So I have two boys, and they were both sent to piano lessons. And I think I saw a bit of this because it did kind of widen their skill set. Every single week, they had to come up with a new excuse as to why they couldn't go to that piano lesson.
What do you think, Rory, about kids learning musical instruments when they're at schools? A good idea?
I think yeah, of course. But I mean, they're now talking about taking things like that out of the curriculum, which I think is a tragedy. It's like taking a colour out of the rainbow. It's part of it, isn't it? Part of education. And I remember doing things like, Peter and the Wolf, and I can remember being asked to narrate that, and I was sort of standing at the front, and all the parents were bringing in their children. And I was so excited for them, because I thought for a lot of them, it might have been the first time they were going to hear an orchestra play, and just the world of excitement that was going to open up. And it's a wonderful experience, and if you can open children up to that early on, it's a great thing.
Did you learn any musical instruments at school, Stuart?
I played the drums for a while, and then my mum and dad got really annoyed with them, and I went back to school one day and they'd sold them.
Did you learn any instruments, Elaine?
I would have liked to learn the violin, but I found it a bit too fiddly.
Encouraging children to take up musical instruments is the right answer. It's 2 points to Claire and Stuart. We've reached our final quick-fire round, which is all about the numbers in the news. I'll read out a headline, and all the teams have to do is fill in the blanks. Get ready on the buzzers, teams. We run out of time when you'll hear this.
There's 50 ways to leave your lover.
That's Lib Dem leader Tim Farron there, the worst Paul Simon cover of all time. OK, let's go fingers on buzzers. What has gone up 21% in a year?
Our love of tennis.
That's true. What's gone up 21% in a year?
My grand's tablets.
What's gone up 21% in a year?
The cost of statistical surveys.
Well done for saying it as well, that was excellent. No, actually, the cost of ingredients for a Christmas pudding's gone up 21%. Oh, scandal! Shame! Shame! I hate them, I don't care. Apps will replace what by 2050?
Christmas.
Apps will replace what by 2050?
Us.
Yeah, that's probably true, actually. Apps will replace high street shops by 2050 was the correct answer. 60% of us have a love of what in our DNA?
Lard.
60% of us have a love of what in our DNA?
Amino acids.
Science communicator.
There's 50 ways to leave your lover.
Oh, that's the klaxon. Tim has farroned. It's all over, everyone. So at the end of the quiz, our winners this week are Rory Bremner and Elaine Malcolmson. Commiserations go to Claire Johnson and Stuart Mitchell. And we will leave you with the breaking news. Justin, the 98-year-old creator of the Big Mac, sadly passed away this week. In memory of his achievement, he'll be buried with some slices of gherkin he doesn't want. Scientists have developed a computer program that can pick out potential criminals simply by looking at their features. It's called Face Crook. And the retirement of status quo has really struck a chord with some fans and then has continued to strike the same 3 chords over and over again. The news is broken. I've been Susan Calman. Goodbye!